All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to this live production session. Let me share the video. I hope the audio is okay. Yes, Facebook. And why doesn't this work? That's better. This time I didn't forget to update the thumbnail, so we have one. And click and one more, and something on Twitter. What's happening, it asks me. So what's happening is we're live. All right, let's check out if I can see the chat. It should be here. Right, there are some people in. It's still silent. It's no problem. I think I'm done setting up, so we can get to work actually. Right. So today we're going to make 5 of these. And let's open up the window for some fresh air, or actually move the bad air outside. Hey David, good afternoon, man. So a couple of days ago I added a noise filter so it should be less audible, the fume extractor here. I hope it's better. So we have better light now. Oh, I think my camera is again in autofocus, which it does by itself, and that's what Logitech does. I hate the software, but what can you do about it? Right. So I always start with pre-soldering the pads of the board, but I'm going to clear up a bit of the soldering iron, all the blobs there. That's just a mess. Just a second. Then add some new water. Right, so let's get started. So I always do one pad of each part, and when you do a lot, you know quite quickly where to put the solder. Sometimes you create a solder bridge or some unwanted places, then I remove it with some wick. So let's see how long we need to finish 5 boards. And these are quite not complex, but there's a lot of parts on it. The good thing, if you can call it good, is that these are older assembly parts, so bigger ones. The design is quite old already, I think from 2015. Back then I used 1206 parts, and now I use 0805. or some smaller even. Which did I touch? I touched something. Where that was. Right. So it's Saturday. Lots of things to do. Spent some time on one of my 3D printers just before going live. I'm upgrading it a bit, not with parts, but mainly reorganizing the construction of the printer and cabling and more. And I have another one waiting to be assembled, an Ender Pro and the 5, I think, and the 5 Pro, yeah. So I need to spend time on that as well, but I haven't found the time yet. Should be a lot better than the one I'm using now, an ANET printer, but all in time. If you want to know anything, then please ask. We'll check the chat from time to time. I'm trying to do a live stream or upload a video every day. I really want to. So I hope you don't mind watching me produce more hardware. But it's really something I like to do, and I want to get some more live in my YouTube channel. Right, pre-solder SMD, then we get to the LEDs. So these are the 1206 parts, as you can see. We have green LEDs for power indicators, and we have blue ones for activity. So these are the green ones for power. I think everything you do, David, is will become easier over the years. So this is what I do on a daily basis, and I'm sure that loads of people are, I'm certain, a lot better in a lot of things than I am. Like, for example, making music, playing piano or something. I would like to spend more time on that, but I just don't have the time, you know. What I do like is watching videos of people gardening. For example, those mainly American videos where people offer themselves to do lawn mowing and more for free, just mainly for YouTube videos. But they help out people a lot. Often those people are disabled or there's some other reason. So when I watch them, I'm getting inspired by the way they perform the work. So, for example, I bought a what is it called? I was picking it up so I can easily check it. I think oh yeah, string trimmer. String trimmer was the name. So I bought one because I saw in the videos how easy you could get rid of unwanted growth on pavements and more. So I bought one, and now it's just a 10-minute job to get rid of a lot of them, which is fine, and I like that a lot because it speeds up gardening, and I do like gardening, but I have more responsibilities, so I cannot spend the time on it I want to. Right, next part is 10k resistors. I think I only need 10. And the other one goes here. So these I would never do with a pick and place machine. Maybe only if I can replace some logic like the GAL chips, which are still on here. Those could be replaced by CPLDs, but the issue is that you need to completely redesign the logic inside it. Especially GAL chips were used a lot with some feedback loops externally, and that's a lot harder with CPLD chips. So you have to rethink the way the chip works, and implement it differently. So that's not easy. A joystick chip could be replaced easily, but the logic chip for the control of all the chips on the PlusDlite is harder to replace. I know I can manage, but the problem is I sell like 5 a month of these, not too many. So it's not really the trouble of replacing a chip like that. It would be fun, but there's no financial benefit of doing it that way. If you sell dozens of them, then it could be different, but again, I grabbed too many of these resistors, but we'll just put them back in the box in a second. Right. Let's see, 2K2. Hey, Peter. It's the human pick and place machine again, Peter. The main difference is that this one doesn't have a counter how many times it picked up a part in its lifespan. So it's not the smartest pick and place machine. Alright, 100 picofarad, which is a very small value for a capacitor. I think it's for some delay on the board. I haven't checked. But the interface is based on the original PlusD from MGT. My first disk interface I had for the Spectrum was the Disciple, actually, which was the best interface I ever had, in my opinion. And of course, nowadays you have all kinds of more advanced systems like SpectraNet and I don't know, some other FPGA system maybe. But Disciple just had a big impact on my work with the ZX Spectrums, so I like it for that reason. Alright, let's see what we're 270 ohms, just 5 this time. I wonder if you can cannot hear the noise of the fume extractor more. Well, this is the coffee machine, by the way, if you can hear it. Because the noise reduction filter should work away most of the noise. So it should be a lot less than a couple of days ago. I tested it with different settings, so with the fume extractor enabled, powered on. So I wonder if you can hear the difference. Alright, let's get a couple of diodes. These are quite hard to see where the polarities, the sides are, because it's really hard to read them. The ink is barely noticeable, so most of the time you use a magnifying glass, make it a bit easier. But in a certain angle on the light I can see which side is which, so that's good. So yesterday I shipped out almost all open orders, only a couple waiting for testing from 2 days ago, new orders. Testing of assembled Harlequin boards, for example. They're on the shelf, but they haven't been tested yet, so it's the last thing I need to do to them. And some new orders for some mouse interface and more. Right, so these are all in the same direction. My daughter would love it when I say these are all in one direction, because although she's 13 and missed out all the One Direction hype back then, she is a big fan now. We visited Harry Styles 2 weeks ago, and we're going again next week to Harry Styles in Belgium. So in the meantime I learned loads of the lyrics of the songs, and I kind of like them now. I'm not gonna lie, it's not my not the music I'm waking up for or something like that, but I do like it, and I do like the charm and the video clips and more of it, and especially it's loads of fun getting to such a concert with my daughter. So this time it should be like 90,000 people. Outdoor, by the way, so it's not an arena concert, but this time not a stadium concert. So quite different than last time in Amsterdam. Hey Franco, Black Country Me, good afternoon. Did I miss anything? It's quite nice. That's good to hear. I got coffee, good coffee, as you can see. Yum. Instant coffee. Oh yeah, I missed the 33 picofarad. In Germany they would think I'm talking about a bike, because a Fahrrad is ein Deutsche word for bike in English. I speak a bit of German, but alright, let's see. Yes, 470, we need 20 of those. Hey Frank. You guys are confusing me. Franco, Frank, it's hard. So, who has done something with ZX Spectrum today? Using, not selling. Although I would be interested in your stuff as well, Peter. But using, who's been using a Spectrum today? Or clone. I'm still processing emails, loads of them, because I'm still trying to catch up with all stuff, all work, but my main priority every day is keeping up with orders, including production work for them. So I want to be able to have everything, every order out, or at least packed and ready to be shipped at the end of the day. And when that's done finally, the production is I am catch up with production, that's not a problem, but email, when that's done, I can finally continue with repairs and continue with some bookkeeping stuff that is still waiting, but it's not the most important stuff. And once that's done, I try to iterate over every step every day. I say that because I would like to do every side of ByteDelight every day, like developing new stuff. It's good to have some time for it every day, like half an hour at least, to be able to work on improving products or getting new ones ready to market. It's a lot of work, but I try to get there. Let's get to the main capacitors. And I think it said I needed 11 for each board. No, it doesn't say. Now let's count in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10? I thought it was 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I missed this one. So 11 times 5 is 55. Oh my god, Commodore 64? No! Too hot to think. It's raining in the UK, yeah? It's going to rain in 2 days, something like that, what I read here in Holland. And it's still quite warm, with 26 degrees here in the ByteDelight headquarters because of the air conditioning. It's not on full yet. I can even put it a bit higher, bit more cooling down, but it's not necessary. Only in the hottest days, and it can be even hotter. So I really hope it will stay like this for a while, not get hotter. Otherwise, I can't work anymore. Opening a window is not really good for the air conditioning, so we try to keep everything closed. We open the windows in the evening, and the house is still cold then, or colder than outside, of course, because of the air conditioning. But in the nights it's still cool enough to open the windows. And throughout the day I leave the air conditioning powered on. Otherwise I couldn't do this work. Like you say, it's really hard to work when it's over 30 degrees in the house. The only thing I can do when it's that hot is get on a holiday or something. Don't have the time for it right now, so Right. So after doing these SMD components, we get to the SMD chips. There are 2 on this board, or 3 maybe? 3, yeah, 3. And then we get to the IC sockets for the through-hole parts. First, let's get this finished. Does testing count? Yeah, I think so. If you powered on a Spectrum, you've been using a Spectrum. Should we kick David and give him a ban? No, just joking. I would never do that. We have had some strange people in live streams, and mostly I just ask if someone wants to be a moderator, and then I get on with the show. Acorn Adam, yeah. Okay, that counts, David. It's okay to work on fixing machines. I like to watch repair channels. I watch them a lot. I learn a lot. You get encouraged by watching people doing repairs, because everyone, if they want to work on a device that they've never worked on, is afraid of breaking something instead of repairing it. I think everyone has that feeling from time to time. My experience with ZX Spectrums nowadays is that even if I break something like putting a track of a board when removing a chip or something like that, I can repair it, so I don't feel bad when something like that happens anymore. But for example, working on the laptop or on a smartphone or something like that, that's something completely different. But seeing the channel like Northridge Fix from Alex in Canada, I think, he does a great job. I know it's not Canada, it's in the States, I think. But anyway, he uploads a video every day, once every day, and he works on all kinds of devices. Even got some contracts from companies to repair things like video cards, GPUs. It's quite cool to see that. He's doing well. So now I'm confused because, oh, I know, I still need 15. I still need 15. Well, there's nothing spamming, no one's spamming yet, so maybe that's because Russia's completely banned from the internet. I don't know. Maybe. I got nothing against people living inside Russia, but sometimes I got the weirdest people inside chats, you know, and you hear a lot of hacking groups coming from Russia and more. So it wouldn't surprise me that a lot of it comes from Russia, but maybe that's a good thing at the moment that we don't have troubles with that. I don't know. I don't want to mix in politics though. I like it. No, let's not say that. I don't want to be mixed in politics. I just wanted to say that I ship stuff from time to time to all kinds of countries, but let's not say that. Let's get to the things we like. ZX Spectrums, for example. Watching other people do the work. Do you like watching me doing the work? I don't mind. I like doing this work. So even if people call me a geek or something, I like to hear it, see it as a compliment then. Alright. Right, now we're going to solder the parts on the other side, and we might need some flex pen in a second, so I'm doing it roughly now. To start with, we clean up in a second, because the current leaded solder that I'm using for these parts, only for these by the way, because I have to stay below 7% of leaded solder on boards like this. Anyway, the leaded solder I'm using, it doesn't flow that well, so I will not buy this anymore. I will just stick with my preferred brand, which is Stenol, for leaded and unleaded, lead-free solder wire. For solder paste I use, what's it called? Loctite, I think. Professional solder paste. Loctite? I think so. Let me check. Yeah, Loctite. The best I've ever had. Even after a long while, it still works fine. Hey Wayne, good afternoon. Let me check what other people said. I've got a ZX81 to repair. The PSU blew up and took the regulator with it. Well, let's hope it's only the voltage regulator. The good thing is that there are not many parts in the ZX81, but the bad thing, of course, could be that it could have damaged the ULA chip, which can be replaced. But as you may have read, I would like to find the best project for a ZX81 clone, and then make DIY kits for that as well, like we do with the Harlequin kits. I also have the Harlequin 3H revision. Some boards waiting for time to spend on them, and start with the DIY manual. So it's a newer revision, got some benefits over the revision 2D, but not only benefits, because also has some things that I think are not necessary on the board itself. But I said mainly because you need to add holes for things like an SD card or ID connector or joystick port, so the Spectrum case isn't made for that. So I prefer sticking with the Harlequin boards that will fit in an original ZX Spectrum case without any need of altering the case. That's what I like the most. Especially if you're using an original case. I personally do not like to drill holes in cases. That's what the reason was for the ZX-AY interface, for example. It's an external interface instead of the stereo kit, which I do still sell. But many people like the external solution, so they don't have to drill anything. It is quite more costly, of course, an external one, because you need a second original AY chip or clone in the future, once they are really gone. I do wonder how many people in China are getting in crates full of old circuit boards with old parts, all kinds of parts in it, and just work on getting all the parts off. I've seen very cringy videos where boards are just demolished for the parts, and of course it will also happen with things like ZX Spectrum boards if they get to China. It happens, and it's good that the parts are being recycled, especially parts that are discontinued and not made anymore. But it's I'm curious just how many people work on recycling those parts, because it seems like a big business there. Many parts that I get in are used. Most of the time I know that they're used, and I don't mind as long as I can test them thoroughly myself. And I've never had, like, for example, a Z80 CPU work for a while and then stop working when it comes from China. If they work, they will keep working for decades. That's my experience. Could be different with other parts, like power parts and so. I don't think you should buy used power parts, but there are a lot of cool things. For example, the DC regulators, the voltage regulators inside boards like the Harlequin 128 versions, and those are new. The ones that I ship with the Harlequin boards, those are new. And it looks like they're just made by someone who has a pick and place machine like I have here. So it's a relatively easy, simple circuit with only a couple of parts, but it works quite fine, even up to 1 ampere for a Spectrum. And I like them a lot. They're not too expensive. They're still €1.5, but for maybe for a chip it would be expensive, but for a voltage regulator with all the parts on it, that's quite reliable. I like the price a lot, and I've used hundreds already, so think of it how reliable they are, because I've never had one fail after someone assembled one on the Harlequin board. From time to time there's one or no, only one. Last week we had one in a batch of 100 of those DC voltage regulators that didn't work, and we test them all because everything from China I test. So everything that comes from China I put on a bench here for testing, like SRAM chips from the past, CPUs, old RAM chips for Spectrum. Even if they're new and old stock, I still test them because I just have enough experience from China that I know that even if they say the parts work, often they don't. So I need to test them myself. And with the Z80 CPUs, we know that the chip might seem to work, but I also need to test if they are CMOS or NMOS, because the print on the chips is often misleading, not the correct print. It might be a slower part than what is advertised on the print on the chip, and even it might be another part, like if you think you bought a batch of CMOS CPUs, which are fine for Harlequin. Most of the time there's like 20% of the chips are NMOS chips, so you know that they're all black top, as they call it, so scraped off like half a millimeter and then got a new print on them. And I don't know if that's necessarily bad, because if they work, it's okay, and they look better, they look newer, so that's fine with me. I wonder how they look if there would not be refurbished chips. Well, if they are from a landfill, then you can imagine how they will look without a treatment. So I like people doing it. I'm worried about health, safety for health, because bowing over a bucket of melted solder can't be that healthy, you know, to remove parts, for example. But that's what I see on some videos from time to time, and I really wonder if those people know how unhealthy that could be. And normally tin is not poisonous, but lead is, and fumes of flux inside the solder are hazardous as well. Burning parts are hazardous, burning plastic, burning circuit boards, those are all hazardous. So I really hope people take care of their health when recycling parts. It's hard for me to check. I'm just too small for that. But you hear bad things about even new parts that are being produced. So I wonder where these parts come from. I would love it if I could communicate directly with someone who does the recycling work. But most of the time I order them from eBay or AliExpress or UTSource. Yeah, let me know, Franco, if you succeeded and what parts needed to be replaced. I'm curious about the ZX81, and I did say I'm working on ZX81 kits, but I don't have them yet in the shop. But I have the feeling that loads of people would like to build a ZX81 clone. So I found the ZX81 Plus 83 and the Minstrel. And what else did I see? I wrote down a couple in my to-do list to investigate, and they're all based on the same principle. Actually, I think they're more like a ZX80 because they don't use a ULA chip. They use all the discrete chips for that, logic chips. So I think it's more of a ZX80 when you build one. They're called the ZX81, I think mainly because of the ROM. And I will need to investigate what kinds of alternatives for ROM chips there are, because these are all still covered by intellectual property rights. I cannot just offer ZX81 ROMs myself. If I'm mistaken, maybe if with the ZX81 it's different, then I'm interested to know, but I think it's all covered under Comcast still, who owns the Sinclair intellectual property. I'm just glad that I have been able to find original +2 ROMs for the Harlequin 128K kits, and I still got enough Harlequin 48 ROMs, original ones from boards, so that's okay if people want to. Maybe it's maybe I should. Yeah, maybe I should just, when I sell a ZX81 clone kit, I should contact the buyer after something like a month. Sorry for the bump. Maybe I should ask him, did you succeed in building your ZX81? Now, if so, then it's time for the next step, building a ZX Spectrum 48K. And then after a month or two, I will contact them again and do the same and ask them if they want to build a toast rack or +2 because of the ROM. And maybe if they've done that, I could offer them the issue 3H, you know. But anyway, yeah, I don't mind people burning their own drums, but I just cannot encourage it. I cannot. It would be illegal to link to stuff, you know. That's when you have a web shop. Sinclair never had copyright on the ZX81 ROM? How's that? How's that? I wonder. You mean this iron? This thing here? I hate it. It's a piece of shit. But I'm still using it because it does work. But I need loads of super glue to heal this part again when it breaks. It's so fragile. Oh, 9 tiles. Okay, but okay. So 9 tiles owned the 81 ROM, but hasn't anyone claimed that for copyright or something? I don't know. And if so, then well, it's no problem adding a 27 128 ROM, for example, or 2764 maybe. I don't know. I have to check what's really necessary. Alright, next part. Those are the chips. We need 3 of them. So we need 506 chips, 74 LS06. Hey, Gianluigi. Peter, I think you need to get on your suit, get out your wooden stick and teach us about ROM history for Sinclair machines as a teacher, a history teacher. Because I understand I do not know enough of it, and I'm just being careful. Yesterday there was a cool video from oh man, oh, I forgot his name. Let me think. I will find it. History. It was from LGR, from Clint, of course, from Clint. The video about AliExpress retro computers with original CPUs, so an 8088 and an 8386 CPU and some portable devices. And one thing he talked about was that the ROM they used inside, the BIOS, was actually an open source BIOS, but they renamed it and removed all the indications of that it was an open source project, which is such a bad thing to do. But people do that, and in general, if the community finds out, then you as a seller are will not be looked at in a good way, I think. I don't know. But I'm careful with just using stuff from others without permission. Have I told the story once that I tried to contact the maker of the multiface interface, or Romantic Robot, because there was a website called Romantic Robot. It still exists, I think, and even though it had a logo of Romantic Robot back in the days, but it was only about some music that the owner of the channel or a website made, so it didn't have any connections with technology whatsoever. So I tried to contact him, and I remember someone else contacting him at the same time, and we only got a response like, "How much do you want to pay me for the rights?" So it looked like it was a complete scam. Someone maybe just wanted to try, or just liked the logo, I don't know, the brand name, I don't know, but it looked like it was a complete scam, and it wasn't really the owner. It's hard to find if someone still owns something, you know. There should be a register. Maybe there's a register for brand names and model names of stuff, where you can look in to see if there is still some intellectual property owned by someone. But I don't think there's one worldwide register for that, which makes it hard. It was kind of cool to see the 2 machines that Clint bought from AliExpress though. They weren't perfect. He complained about a lot of details, a lot of aspects, like missing I/O ports and more. They all had breakout stuff, thingies, but nothing on the machine itself. Another thing I saw today was a retro computer USB mouse, retro USB mouse. So it really looked like a grey mouse from the old days, but it was made very cheaply, and it's not available anywhere anymore. And it looked like it just actually got an internals of a cheap mouse and then put a new shell over it because somebody opened it and everything fell out of there. There was no screw holding the circuit board or something. So yeah, that's one way of making some custom mouse. You know, it's not the best way, I think. But I think there is more demand for that, more demand for things looking retro, but in slightly better quality, and that's a problem. If you want to make something in a decent quality, it will be too expensive, or you need to make so many, like for example, if you need molds for injection molding, you need so many that it's not interesting anymore. And the only place that and people that might be able to pull it off and make any profit of it is, for example, the people who can make the molds themselves in China and produce the cases in themselves in China. But most of the time it's just of poor quality, and that's a pity. So retro is nice, and people who are enthusiastic about retro electronics and computers like it a lot, but it's still a relatively small community, of course. That's a pity. Though a couple of weeks ago we visited a record fair. We bought a couple of good quality old records from the 70s and 80s, but there is such an amount of new records being made. So my daughter is not only a Harry Styles fan, but also Niall Horan and Louis Tomlinson. And she bought the new album from Niall, which came out a week ago at the show. And she also bought the cassette tape, and she bought the record, and the record arrived like 4 days ago. And it's a new record, and it looks quite nice. It's translucent. I haven't played it yet, but I'm sure the quality is fine as well. So there's quite a big market for new records nowadays. We wanted to try to find rumors from Fleetwood Mac, for example. Not a new one, because there is a new pressing made a couple of years ago, but we just like having an old one in good quality, or relatively good quality. But it's not, you cannot find it below like 15 euros, something like that. And for a used record, I think that's quite a lot. Everyone who offers them on local marketplaces knows that they're worth like 15 euro or more, you know. So it's really hard to find something from that time for a decent price. I think such an album would be worth 7 euro or something, not more, because I don't need it for the audio quality. I just need it because I like playing plastic plates that turn around and that spin, and music gets out of them, you know. It's just ridiculous if you think of it, but that's what we did for decades. Even I played records myself when I was younger. I had an aunt that liked to buy singles, so the small single records, and she had loads of singles from ABBA, for example. She was a huge fan of ABBA, and after a while she got to other music, and she gave us some, and that was cool. So she had so many records, hundreds, I think. That was normal back in the days for loads of people. So I like nostalgia, I like modern stuff as well, but for me there's no reason of quitting what I liked back in the days. Why would you? If you liked it back then, why would you not like it now, you know? So that's not much reason, because the games we grew up with are still cool games. Nothing's changed about those games. They're not less cool nowadays, they're just older games, but they still have a value. So I don't see any reason why not using retro stuff anymore. That's what I think. Alright, so all SMD stuff is on. I hope the quality is okay. It seems nice. We'll do some IP cleaning later on. But now we have to get to the IKEA box. This box. And before continuing, that's right, brakes. very important. Let's write out the serial numbers. I think this pen is empty now. Oh, still something in. Alright, oh, it's dripping. 151, 152, 153, 154, 155. Alright. And as always, this needs to dry up, and it's water resistant and alcohol resistant ink. This is the best pen ever. This is the copper pen from PenTouch. So the best one to write serial numbers in my opinion. Let's write the last one here as well, because I should not lose this information. Okay, let's see. Rumors is such a classic album. Yeah. Crucially really worn. I guess that it's still worth playing it from time to time. Suit back off. Oh, what did you say? Yes, Ninetales did a Spectrum ROM, but also ZX80 and ZX81. John Grant and Steve Vickers. I know those names. Race frame. So John Grant. But did John Grant write the ZX80 ROM himself? By himself? I wonder, because even if I were 30 back in the days, 40 or something like that, I wonder if I could have pulled it off writing a ROM for such something new like a computer like a ZX80, you know? I've got TransExpress Tactic Microdrive software on the interface. Ah yeah, TransExpress, of course. Romantic Robot. ZX Spectrum 48, Steve Vickers again. And Richard Altwasser, yeah, okay, that's a new name I know as well, but. And later on, for the Spectrum 128K, I don't see anyone from the Ninetales company anymore, and I think there was some kind of lawsuit or so, I don't know. I lay down the wooden stick, Peter. You've learned us a lot. We thank you for that. Nice, nice. Back in the days I was just a user, and because we were in Holland, we didn't get every detail of what happened in the UK with all those machines that I like a lot. I still think I should just move over to the UK, but it will be so hard now when my kids are used to the Netherlands, you know. So I don't think we will do that, but maybe if I would ever move, I would outside of Holland. I would like to move to something like Canada, for example, with loads of space. But I just don't like snakes and bears. And yesterday's Grand Prix Free Practice 1 was a joke. Have you seen it? Has anyone seen Free Practice 1 yesterday? I made a picture of the photo that was shown afterwards. It said highlights of the Free Practice 1. I don't know if you have seen it, but they drove for less than 4 minutes, and then there was a red flag because of a technical issue with the FIA, so they didn't drive at all. But anyway, the Free Practice 2 was nice. It was a bit late because it was at midnight here in Holland. Scotland what? Scotland. I don't know. All right. So tonight, let's see what local time it is for me, because it's an hour earlier in the UK, I guess. Where is it? I'm logged in, so that's okay. Let's see. What time? Ah, here's the agenda. Okay, tonight at 6:30. Free Practice 3 starting, and the qualification will start at 10 o'clock, so it's still, it's a nice time to watch the qualification from 10 to 11, so I guess it's from 9 until 10 in the UK. And tomorrow the race is at 8 o'clock in the evening, so that's good as well in Canada. So you don't want to live there here in England, Ben. Now what? Space and now sunny due to global warming. Oh, Peter, you think I should better move to Scotland? Is that what you're saying? I think I should just live on another planet, I don't know. It would be quite hard to ship out orders from another planet, I guess. There should be some courier that can do it for me, but okay. So loads of space in Scotland, yeah. Loads of movies are made in Scotland. I saw, was it the first episode of Black Mirror season 6? That was, I think it was shot in Scotland, I think. Looked like it. Costed of Scotland. Oh man. Yeah, I think some of the Spanish islands, for example, might be too hot now to get to on a holiday. I don't like it. I've never liked going to on a summer holiday in the middle of the summer because of the crowdness. You know, I don't like that at all. I like it when it's when there are people but not too many. I like it when you can still move inside a swimming pool, for example. Anyway, let's get to the next part. What does my build guide say? You can barely see it, and there are some burn marks here because if I need to heat up something, I won't do it on this rubber mat because it will get bulged and you can throw it away after that. So I do it here from time to time. But and I used test pens here, so you can see that as well. But for the rest, I just write up serial numbers as I did a second ago. Next is the IC socket. So we're up to these here. And we cannot do that. We are forgetting something, because if I do that, I cannot clean the top of the board anymore. So we'll do that first. It's done in a couple of minutes because these are only a couple of small parts, not that hard to clean up. I use these small bottles of alcohol for years, and they haven't melted till now, because I'm always afraid that they will melt because of the alcohol in them. Where did I leave my brush? I've used it, but I don't remember where I put it. Oh, here it is. Was cleaning some circuit boards of the 3D printer with brushes. Dusty. I just watched, I think it was episode 3 with Aaron Carter from Breaking Bad, and that one was creepy. So from Black Mirror season 6. When I watch videos when I'm doing work, you know, not now, but if this work, you doesn't need to think a lot, so you can put on a video. The only thing I don't like about Black Mirror season 6 is that it has only 5 episodes. Bezel, bezel, help me. Which bezel? I know bezel from some television series. Which one was it? Or does it look like a bezel? I don't know. Oh, bezel from the plant. What do you mean? This doesn't look like bezel, does it? No, no. Bezel got leaves. I like basil with tomatoes and mozzarella cheese, some olive oil, salt, and you can wake me up for that. One of the things I like a lot. is soak the sponge in glycerin, and I'm looking at 10 years now. It hasn't dried up. Why? What sponge is that? Oh. Or is it something you use every day? I'm triggered by watching these 28-pin sockets because a customer complained that he got one 32 socket instead of a 28-pin, and I still wonder how that could be possible, because I do my best to check on each and every set of parts that leave with Harlequin kits. So I do the checks myself. So my wife or the kids help me out with making the parts and mats and more. But I do checking myself, and I don't have enough sockets for some reason. I'm grabbing a couple more. And I help them out with things like pictures of how the mats should be filled, but still we can make errors with that. Oh, Foley towers, yeah. We all got our associations, you know. This is cool. Oh, 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 oh. I wonder how my life would have been if I'm just picking up a part. If I would have lived in the UK like 20 years earlier or something, you know? Would I have been just using more of the tech back then, or maybe work in some company myself? I don't know. How would life have been if I had a computer company back in the days in the UK? Maybe I would have been fighting with Clive himself, like Chris. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to have been the person who maybe competed with Sinclair. But it's cool making all these hardware, because the things I liked the most back in the days was getting through magazines and watching all the stuff that I didn't have and couldn't afford, and now I make it myself. I like that. Only no, I don't know, thousands per month or something, but just a tiny amount of that, which is enough. So how long have I been streaming right now? Can anyone see that? I think it feels like something like 50 minutes, maybe longer, I don't know. Because I think we're almost done. Just some IC sockets, and you can see those go quite quickly. Then the edge connectors, and then some other switches and buttons and whatnot. I'm forgetting to power on the fume extractor once again. The last couple of weeks, months, there's a lot more interest for floppy disk systems. So more and more people would like to buy dual floppy drive sets and PlusDlite interfaces. I like that because I think I would want every ZX Spectrum enthusiast to at least once try how feeling with working with floppy disk systems and floppies feels, how it feels like. The same with SpectraNet. It's something completely different, you know. So I would like people to experience how it is. Maybe that's one important reason of getting shows in Holland, meetups running again here. It wouldn't surprise me if it was possible to create bigger events. I just don't have the time yet. So bigger events for several brands, for example, complete vintage computer, home computer shows like Spectre Sinclair, BBC, Commodore and other stuff. I don't mind. It would be fun, and I'm sure there are people who have a company in Holland that have to do something with something like that. And maybe I can even persuade people like Gideon Schweitzer and others who are in other scenes who develop a lot of stuff. Maybe I can persuade them as well to come over and maybe offer them their stuff. But I'm not sure, because loads of them just develop the hardware and do not have time to run a web shop or something like that. But it would be fun. I will invite them if I can. I'm a bit afraid of though of how people will respond, because times are getting tougher because of the costs that are increasing, and I don't know if although people like vintage electronics, I don't know if they actually have the possibility to come over and to an event. I don't know. So I aim for keeping it simple in the beginning. Just do a couple, like 2 each year for the next years, and maybe increasing after a year or something if people show more interest. I don't want to start with an event for like 400 people and then only 25 arrive or so. You know, that I don't like that. That would be a big risk in time and money. I don't like that. So I have to think about it. That's one reason I am thinking about an entrance fee like Chris does with his fairs, Chris Wilkins. I think it's great what he does, and loads of people are interested and come over. So he inspired me to try doing this in the Netherlands. For some reason this chip doesn't want to get in. But my meetups will be different. It will not be exactly the same as what Chris does. I will try to make it in a way that people will, I think, will enjoy it more in Holland. And I'm not planning on getting on the road a lot, so if it's possible, I will try to at least start nearby. And if I would get to a more central place in the Netherlands, and I still hope it's a maximum of an hour to get to, for example. And I say that mainly because I have a family, you know, I have kids. I would like if my wife could support such events, and but that would be hard if the kids would need to be alone. I don't like that idea. So we'll see how it goes. One thing that's hard is to find places and rates for hiring location It's not easy. I found almost no areas where you can hire like a space, including pricing on the website or so. The companies just don't do it for some reason. I don't know, or they are hard to reach. I don't know. I wonder why it's not easy to find and rent a place. So we'll see how it goes. I hope the first one can still be this year. And I hope at least 30, maybe 50 people will come. Maybe I'm not thinking big enough. Maybe it's just good to create a bigger event to start with, so people won't be disappointed and will stay away the next time. You know, that's something I wonder. Should I make it an event, a fair like Chris does, with the possibility of hundreds of people visiting, or should I keep it small to start with? The UK is not the same as the Netherlands. I wonder if I can get that many people here in Holland. I don't think so. Not for Sinclair only. Maybe if you combine brands and invite people from Belgium and Germany, and maybe the UK as well, because I've heard some people who would like to attend as well from the UK, which is cool, awesome. So all those things go through my head. And because of that, I haven't checked the chat for a while now, which I should do, but in the meantime, at least these PlusDlite interfaces are getting along. What? With pristined your brush bezel. Okay. What kind of speedrun soldering is this? This is just my way of doing work. Look at them go. 1 hour, okay. I think it will take half an hour and then we're done. 70 minutes now? Okay, 10 minutes more then. Magic? Nah. I'll have to leave soon as my lad is back from holiday. Okay. Oh wow. Have a good one, Peter. And yes, I will invite people like you and others, because I will just post it on Facebook a lot. I'm not there yet, so sometimes I even feel bad when I think that I would like to make some money of those fairs, you know, because until now we mostly had user days, so where people bring their ZX Spectrums and just sit and enjoy and talk and more. But for me, I still like those days, but I also like to use it as an opportunity to show products and new products and sell more stuff. So I wonder if people would not mind if I try to, for example, make some money on entrance, just a bit, just to make sure I'm not getting in debt hiring the place. Maybe make some money by getting some snacks and drinks, and of course sell some stuff. When I make it a bring your own device event, people should not get the feeling that it's mainly because I want to make money. That's one thing. but I feel bad when I think of also making it a bit commercial, you know. But I think it should be doable. I think people won't mind that much, at least if they can bring their own stuff, sit on a desk, not on a desk, on a chair, behind a desk, and spend a day that way. I think that would be an ideal combination, at least here in Holland. How many people of you have had user days where you can bring your own Spectrum in the UK? Because I mainly know of that here in Holland and in Germany, but I haven't heard much of those in the UK. Was it quite common that people just got together and connected their own hardware? I wonder. Tell me about it. Because when I visited UK for events, it was mainly micro fairs and other stuff, which I liked as well. That's not a problem, but it's different. Here in Holland, we have done years of getting together and showing off some developments we did on our own hardware, on our Spectrums, playing games, talking to each other. That was the main goal here in Holland. Yeah, passport is hard. And even if you get a passport, oh man, I've had so many issues in the UK of getting through the automated passport check ports. You know, oh man, those things don't work at all. The last time was in February when I visited London with my daughter, and again I was stuck at those passport checks. They just don't work. What is it with these machines? Those robots. Takes such a lot of time. We had lots of fun. Did I tell why I was in London? Because I don't know if I actually told about it. Maybe I did. Again, it has to do something with One Direction. But it was a unique visit this time. It was very cool. Sometimes I have the feeling that One Direction was more famous outside of the UK compared to in the UK itself, but I might be mistaken because I don't know. It's not the same as like Adele, you know. It's just a boy band. What am I talking about? My daughter will hate me. But she's crazy, and we visited London to do some roller skating. She's doing some roller skating in London itself. She did in February, and next time I think we're going to Paris to do some roller skating, and Spain, like Madrid or Barcelona. We'll see about that. And other countries. She likes to go to the US just for roller skating. I said no, not now. Maybe one day. But I like to visit some well-known places with her, so she can be on the skates. We visit a roller skate club every week. Every Tuesday I go with her. It's cool. And the other reason we were in London was because she wanted to visit the places where One Direction made some of the video clips. So Battersea Park, the university, where is it? I don't know, I don't remember. We visited some places where you can see that you can see in the video clips themselves and my daughter just wanted to be on exactly the same spot, you know, so we made it some videos. And when we were at ByteDelight Park, I sat down and I was enjoying the park, and I thought let's create one video with One Direction song underneath and combine all the clips we made. And it was a cool video, but my daughter doesn't allow me to show it to people. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I don't like it as well when there's so many armed guards in the public place. It scares me a lot as well. I don't feel safe. Actually, visiting big places with lots of people is I don't feel safe as well because of all the stuff happened over the years. I always feel like there's a risk, you know. But fortunately, there's still a bigger risk of trains not going anywhere. Like last week, 2 weeks ago when we were in Amsterdam. Fortunately, we were by car, but loads of girls had to miss out the concert because of a huge train issue around Amsterdam. Not an incident, but just a computer system that didn't work. They better should have wired up a ZX Spectrum, maybe. Much more reliable. But it happens more often than scary stuff. Although, for a teenager missing out on a Harry Styles concert, it could be a drama and horror. I don't know. And one of the next days I will upload a video of some tablets. I think I already spoke about it. So I got out some older tablets here, like this one here. This is a Teclast P80H, an old one, and I installed it with the factory settings. Put 3D Mark on it. It's really slow. This one got Android 5, but it still works, as you can see. It's just slow, as you can see. But I want to do a comparison between this old tablet, which still works fine, but it's crazy old, and the newest one I bought a couple of weeks ago. It's not a Teclast anymore because Teclast doesn't make the best budget tablets anymore, but I found a new brand, and I want to do another review video, so people who are interested in the same tablet can see for themselves before buying how good it is or not. I haven't tested it, it's still in the box, so I will get it out on the video and we'll show everything I experienced myself in first hand. I like doing those videos, and I know that most people watch them. The most crazy videos are the videos watched most. So like I once did an upgrade on my one of my HP laptops, CPU upgrade, and I still get questions about can I use this CPU, and I don't know why, because the laptop is 12 years old now or something like that. It still works. It's downstairs functioning as a Formula 1 laptop underneath the television, because my television is an older one, doesn't have an Android TV on it, something like that. So the only way to cast is either by Chromecast or just wire up a laptop like I did. Works fine. So it's in the cabinet underneath the television. And it's a fast laptop now. It's I did an upgrade from Core i5 to Core i7 4th generation, I think. I don't know. Years ago, but that video is still watched a lot. Also, other videos like drag soldering videos are watched a lot, which I think is not the most interesting video, but people watch them because they want to learn, I guess. I don't know. Maybe YouTube just shows those videos more than others. I don't know. If anyone can master the AI that Google uses for serving videos on your timeline, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea how it works. I think it's made to gain as much profit as they can. That should be what it's optimized for, I guess. It's still a commercial company. And although people don't like commercials, I'm paying to get rid of them. We're almost about to sign up for YouTube Premium, because we have so many devices we're using YouTube for here in our house, TVs and tablets and smartphones and more, and we really want to get rid of those commercials, really. So we're going to do it that way, and of course you can use ad blockers, but not on all devices. So that's the way we're going to do it. We have Netflix, we have Amazon Prime, and what else do we have? I don't know, not much else at the moment. We are going to take a subscription to an official Dutch television streaming service, which is called NLZ. It's only €1 a month, not too much. So less than many other subscriptions, and the good thing is you can watch your favorite series on Dutch television for up to a year ago, so that's cool, without any commercials. So I got rid of the television subscription a couple of weeks ago. No more commercials when it comes to that. I really hate watching TV with all the commercials in between, so I got rid of that. It saves me €35 a month, which is quite a lot, I think. So television by your cable provider, or in our case glass fiber, is not cheap at all. And instead of that you have so many alternatives. The only problem is that you need devices that can actually play those services, like Google TV, Google Chromecast with Google TV, for example. But you can get those boxes for new for €30. So if you don't need 4K, and you don't need 4K on any device, you know, you have such a box, which is a Chromecast with built-in Google TV App Store, and it works like a charm. So you can cast everything from the device itself or by a smartphone. You can choose, but there's a remote included with Google Assistant if you like to talk to it. And yes, people don't like being logged in on those devices, and especially since there's a microphone in the remote control. I know. I don't like that at all. You can disable it if you want to. I think people who are really scared can remove the microphone, I guess. And I get that if you don't like to have the feeling that people are listening to you without your permission. I don't mind. I fully get it if you think like that. But the devices are not expensive, and of course that's because you are the product and not the devices. Although, if you take a Google TV solution, then at least you don't have to watch commercials anymore. Though Google, of course, still uses the information that they know about you from what you watch, and so that's a downside. But wait, I guess if they wouldn't do it, if there was some company that wouldn't take all your data, I guess you will pay a lot more. So almost done. I don't think we have the best transport, but that said, getting on the road in getting into traffic, I don't like that anymore. I prefer getting by train, even though it takes up like an hour more than going by car. There's so many downsides of going traveling by car nowadays. I don't like it at all. So if I have the opportunity, then I will take the train and bus. It's much easier, and I would pay up to first class if I can, because many companies only pay for second class. And in crowded trains, it's really a relief if you can sit in a coupe where it's quiet, especially if you need to go to work and still want to process emails and so, things like that. So I take the train more often than I used to in the past. So when I need to get out of the city for some visits, like meetups with some people, I take the train because I just can relax in the train. I can watch a movie, or I can just do some emails and more on a laptop, and that's what I like a lot. But it's not perfect here in Holland. I think mainly the security rules that are in place to avoid all kinds of problems are so narrow. It's really hard to avoid problems on the train tracks, for example. I think I don't know. People are getting overreacting when it comes to safety, instead of thinking with a good, healthy conscience. You know, I'd like that a lot more. I like things like on farm ground where rails cross, that there are crossings that still lead to huge accidents, even with deaths and children, and oh man, it happens in Holland still, and I really don't get how that could happen, because please guys, use your brains. You don't need anything else. You don't need a very complex system to warn you. If you just can cross over one rail, you know, and just look left and right, and that's all. What on earth could make it go that badly that people die, and just by not being careful? I don't know. It happens a lot. Every year you hear such an accident in Holland as well. So I don't know. People are just, I don't know, elsewhere with their thoughts or so. I don't know. I have no idea. Hey Nuno, yeah, I'm doing quite okay, and not everything is perfect, but at the moment I like doing some soldering work. This is almost done. Oh, I need some more connectors, I see, and these are almost empty. So these are the last 5, I guess. I need more. I don't like soldering these connectors because for some reason they tend to solder in a hard way. They are not easy to solder in. Maybe the pins are not clean enough. I don't know. I don't touch them at all, but they're not easy to solder. So last time, I'm going to do it again. I just grabbed some Amtech flux. 592, I think, or 559, the best in the world, original. I bought these from Louis Rosman. Next time I will buy them from Alex from Northridge Fix. I really like his channel. So in the past, Louis Rosman did a lot of repair videos, but he's now mainly into politics. So now I watch Northridge Fix. And this helps a lot with stuff that otherwise is hard to solder in. Just add some flux, good quality flux. And we'll clean it up in a second with some IPA. So I'm using lead-free solder, and you can see how easily it still solders on with adding some flux, which is great. That looks nice. So, of course, the chips are not on the boards yet. I tested some more GAL chips yesterday that I got from China, from a place that I think I bought more earlier on. But I got in 10 more yesterday, and I tested them. They were all okay, which is good. It's really hard to find a good source for GAL chips nowadays. Most of the GAL chips just don't work when you buy them from China. So I ordered 50 more, and I hope they are exactly the same chips and they all work, because the last batch I had from UT Source, for example, just didn't work. And as I said in the last video, I got some money back, but not all. I don't like that company at all. So if I can get 50 more, I have enough for, I think, a year or two, which is important because those parts are really hard to obtain. And there is a substitute for those, the Atmel chips, the Atmel version. But as far as I know, I need to recompile the JADAC files for them, so from source, which can be tricky. I will find out if I can really do that. I really have to. Maybe it's not necessary. I don't know. So there's a modern, newly made version of the GAL chips, and I really hope all the other parts like ROM chips, RAM chips, and all the stuff, and AY chips mainly even, could be produced newly again. But we'll see about that. No clones, but copy of the original. That would be nice. Quiet, you know. People have been talking a lot. I guess they're what time is it? It's 3 o'clock. Maybe they're in the siesta at the moment, I don't know. It's hot. Here it's about just over 30 degrees outside. Inside it's 25, 26. Feels good. So you can see this flows quite nicely with the added flux, and because you can see how much solder I'm adding to it, and it's all going into the through holes. So that's a good connection, good soldering connection, and they look nice. We'll clean it up later. Almost done. So I need a capacitor in a minute, a full capacitor and crystal, and I need to add the dip switches and the joystick connectors, and then we're done. So I think about 2 hours. I know these interfaces are still quite complex, I have a lot of parts on them, so it's not that bad. Just I'm using this for 3 or 4 years now and still not empty. I had two and actually gave one to someone else because it was way too much. I thought I would use it a lot more, but maybe because I also have the flux pens, that I don't need these liquid flux that much. And this is one of the last things I need to do before I can say I'm completely catched up with all the production work. And of course, every day new orders will come in, so I need to do this kind of work every day. But I really want to catch up with all the email now and then the repairs, and then work on other stuff like the meetups. So I'm just getting it on. So every day I do like 4 hours of production work, sometimes more. And then order processing, emails, some development, and things in my family. Lots of things to be done. Hey Franco, I don't think there should be there needs to be any limit. If I can find a clone, because I'm not going to develop something new myself, but if I can find a clone that I can make kits of and that has the option of using 16K and 8K ROMs, configuring by some jumpers for example, I would be okay with that. I might be interested in redesigning the board if I'm allowed to, because I've seen some designs that I think can be a bit better. One thing I would really like is to use to be able to plug in a power supply with a standard DC socket instead of the 3.5mm socket, and then also a bridge rectifier, so it doesn't matter what kind of power supply you have. You just have to know if it's between like 5 and 15 volts or something. Where are my crystals? They are on that side. Just a second. I like the bridge rectifier on clone boards because some people maybe don't read the manual good enough and they blow up their newly built clone. That would be a pity. Oh, I mean, these are not the correct ones. I don't need 3.5 megahertz. I need 8 megahertz. Just a second. Otherwise, I will get lots of loading errors, disk errors. Doesn't work at all. Repairs. Let me think. I need to do like 40 or 50 emails still, and what else comes in, but that will only take a couple of days from now, I guess. So behind me, yeah, you can see it. This stack is all repairs and more on the shelf, but not that much anymore because I've done a lot already. But there's still some, so I guess I will be doing repairs in a couple of days, live on YouTube. So one of the goals is to try to be live or do a video on YouTube every day. I really just want to do it, and it hasn't been done yet because of all the backlog of bookkeeping stuff and so, but now I can, and I just want to. So if you see me on YouTube, it's a good sign. That's what I want to. That's what I'm trying to say. If I'm on YouTube, then I'm having the feeling that I'm going to catch up with all the work soon, because this takes some time, of course. Being on YouTube requires some effort that you can spend a lot of things. But I want to get it done. I want to do this to get people involved, to show what I'm doing, to share ideas, and yeah, there's still loads of people waiting for a lot of stuff when it comes to repairs or just emails. So I'm doing what I can to catch up completely. I'm not sitting still, but I must say I do have other things to do next to ByteDelight as well. So this morning, when it was not too hot yet, I got my oh, I forgot the name again. What was it called? Grass. I was doing some mowing outside. let's keep it easy, because the front yard was looking like a jungle, and I don't like that at all. So I cleaned it up because I found a new solution for that, which is that just takes 15 minutes. So I spent 15 minutes in the front yard, and I asked my wife if she could remove all the remainings. I need 100 nano. What is it? Microfarads. Just a second. Oh. So loads of other things to do as well. I'm still also planning on moving when I can, but it's quite complex. You need to have loads of things done first. So I'm working on that as well, because we all want to have some more space, especially for the business. So loads of things to do. But before doing anything big like meetups or moving or something else, I want to do all the remaining repairs first. I don't like the color of this capacitor. The blue capacitor doesn't fit the black board, but I couldn't get any other quality ones. And on these boards I like top grade capacitors. Touching the flux, it's sticky. And I was using lead-free solder on these capacitors, and I don't like it. It's hard to solder, especially because one of the pins goes to a ground plane. All the heat is being dissipated by the ground plane, which makes it harder to solder. But I need to get in the through-hole parts first, because before cleaning up, otherwise the IPA, the alcohol, will get through the holes that are still open. It will create a mess on the other side of the board. I don't like that. Almost done. And then 5 more people can enjoy working with floppies on the Spectrum, which I think is really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. So I was talking about a new video about some tablets, and also I'm going to post a video soon, maybe make it a live show, about the new floppy drive sets, which are almost done. Just need to ship out one to Renee, who's waiting for one to be to test it out. But I've tested a lot of myself, and it's a great new enclosure that I'm using. And also did some other changes to make it easier to assemble for myself. But also got a lot of benefits, like being able finally to use a Gotek drive in it. And I want to develop something that enables you to swap, like for example a Gotek drive and a standard drive. So you can choose which one you want as the first drive and second drive. So that's something I need to do, which won't be easy, because adding a switch to an enclosure without drilling holes is not easy. I've all kinds of ideas for it. I want to make it a universal solution, and I want to be able to use it with all kinds of floppy drives and Gotek drives. So that's something I need to finish. But the new enclosure with the with 2 floppy drives will be available very soon. I think the quality is a lot better than, not that it was bad, but it just has some major benefits, and I will show you soon. I will make a video of it. I think it will be a live video, so I can explain everything, and if people ask me something, then I can respond to it. Alright, I saw something not okay in here, so I wonder what happened. I wonder if that will make good contact. I don't think so. So what I will do is get that pin out and put in a new one, because I don't trust this being safe at all. So now we just need some donor pin, because otherwise it's missing a tooth. And for that I will just use a 14 pin socket and use one of these. Oh, the soccer tonight. Enjoy the match, and I will enjoy Formula 1 tonight with my son on the couch. We like that. In August we will go to the Dutch GP. And we'll probably drive there with my good old diesel. I'm just joking. Just a second, I have to write something down that came up in my head. Alright. Where was my chat? SD card versus floppy. SD card is modern, fast, and works quite reliably. Floppy has a nostalgic feeling, like playing records. That's what I like about floppy. I like it. It's pure personal, so don't take my word on it, but I like working with floppies. Especially on the retro 8-bit retro system like a ZX Spectrum. It's almost magic how good it works, how well thought some of the interfaces and software is, and how quick games load. They load a lot faster than by tape, obviously, and also the Spectrum, the Disciple, for example, formats disks quite quickly compared to like for example an IBM PC floppy drive. I think I've had all floppy disk systems. No, not all. I know that like Neil Beadle has 1 or 2 systems that I haven't never used, floppy disk systems for the Spectrum. But I've tried ByteDelight. I still got a couple of interfaces. I've used PlusDlites, PlusDs, of course. These are the PlusDlites. Disciple systems is about the same as the PlusD. And I've used the MBO2 by Kusira, which is the most advanced disk system for the Spectrum, which supports HD floppy disks and floppy disk drives, which is awesome, I think. And also the software on it, BSDOS, has a very nice tape emulation method. So if you transfer the software to disk, you can, when you load a program, it will keep a pointer at which file you loaded the last. So you can use unmodified basic loaders and just load the next file from disk, you know, which is quite cool. So it does about the same as you are used to on the tape, but then from disk. So it's genius. I like it. But I think the PlusD and the Disciple interface and the PlusDlite as well have the benefit of very easy loading. You just need to type in like a load P2 or 3 or 5, depending on which file you want to load from the disk, and it will just load that file without needing to enter a file name or something like that. It's quite it's really well thought through. I like it. And maybe I should do some more videos about what it feels like using a floppy drive. Stream Deck resetting. The stream is still on, right? Oh. You can still hear me, can you? So I think I just need to reset the camera, and that I think that happened because of the I powered down the soldering iron. So let's just reset it. Is it better? Oh, and my side camera is still not working, let's see. But this one is, eh? Yeah, this one is. I think we just got too much stuff on the... This one is still working, yeah. Stuff on the... connected to one machine, I don't know. I'm using several ports, so I actually don't know what it is, but it must be some power surge. Let me reset this one, and then we're back. Yeah, back on. Yes, I still need to finish that one, no, sorry for that. So everything is working, okay. I wonder what I could do about switching on the soldering iron and having these kinds of problems. I think it has to do with all the cabling here in the attic, because there's only one wall plug where everything is getting its power drawn from, which with a lot of extension box, you know, it's not the best solution. But what can you do about it? What can I do about it? I don't know. Maybe I should add a UPS, for example, underneath the desk, something like that. If anyone has an idea to how to improve the power delivery here in the attic, in the ByteDelight headquarters, I'm open to suggestions. So I'm going to clean this up. You can see the last bit of work I'm doing, and I think we're done with these, except for plugging in the chips, which is easy. Cleaning up these big boards is a bit more work than I'm used to, but we're going to do it. Especially now there's so much flux on the pins of the floppy connector here. So as long as any brown comes off this brush, it's not clean yet. That's quite clean. I wonder if you can see how clean it is already. Ah, you can see it. So almost all flux is gone except a bit for between the pins here. Right, and for sure there will be a bit on the other side now. Not that much, but I like to remove as much as I can because it's sticky and it will attract dust, and, you know. Okay, most of it is gone. This one is done. I like it. I'll add the serial number in a second. Right. Oh, this is just, it's no problem. I'm going to take a clean one in a second. Right. Second one takes some time, doesn't it? Yeah, well, back in the days, I remember clearly that getting from tape to disc was such a magical step forward. Um, if you want to write software, and then tape is not, of course, not the method for that. You need something that is quicker, that's easy to index. You can create multiple files, for example, and for that you can use a storage interface like a diffmc. But back in the days you didn't have that, and you only had something like a floppy disk system or a micro drive, which is tape with some extras, I think, and as less reliable as tape was. So discs were a perfect solution for that. The only problem was that it was way too expensive back in the days for many people. Now it's kind of cheap. It's getting more expensive as we speak, because the floppy drives are harder to obtain. So they're still available, and if you like to get into the world of floppy disks, these are not floppy anymore, but we still call them that, then this is a good way of getting inside that world, and it's an easy system to understand. There are loads of utilities written for it. So for example, if you like, you can order a PlusDlite with dual floppy drive set and 10 disks, of which 5 are filled with all kinds of utilities for PlusD, which is very cool. So that's one thing I offer. And I still also offer packs of disks themselves, double density disks, I mean, because high density disks are quite easy to obtain still, but double density are not, and they're not the same. So an high density disk is not the same as a double density disk. Some people try to cover the whole of a high density disk and use them as double density, but although that might seem to work for a while, the problem is that high density disks have a lower sensitive magnetic layer. So the problem is that because of the data is closer to each other, there's more bits on each sector written, because the data rate is higher, but there are still 80 tracks on an HD disk, which is the same with the double density disk. They needed to increase the data rate so the data is closer to each other, and what they did is make the layers of material less sensitive, so the data won't influence the surrounding data, you know. So when you use an HD disk in as double density by covering up the HD hole, you're using a disk that is less sensitive, and because of that will lose its data much more quickly than an original double density disk would have. The only problem is double density disks are not made anymore, so if you want to use this interface, then you need to find double density disks. And what you can do is find people that are selling some lots of Amiga disks, for example, which are all double density, and those disks are most of the time still fine. The ones I buy in Holland here, I think 25 or 30% fails, which is a lot. But I test them and I sell only the good ones. So you can still obtain the discs if you want to from, for example, our web shop. By 12 packs, I sell them by 12. And they're tested, they have a brand new label, so you can write anything on them if you want to. And they work perfectly with the PlusD interface, for example, or PlusDlite. Also have loads of original Disciple disk interfaces laying in crates in my storage, which I need to work on when I find time. So lots of other stuff available as well, but it's when it comes to functionality, the same as a PlusDlite. So the question is, do you want an original interface which is more expensive, or do you want a new interface like the PlusDlite, which is available and can be maintained more easily because I got the parts, you know. Disciple disk interface also can be maintained. They actually need resoldering of all the pads, because the solder that was used originally is in awful bad quality, and all those disciple disk interfaces can have very brittle soldering connections. So you need to reflow all the connections with new leaded solder, and then the interfaces most of the time work just fine. But one of the problems that the PlusD and the disciple disk interfaces always had back in the days were very unreliable PAL chips, which failed a lot. And fortunately one day someone found PAL chips that could be read out, and they could be how do you call it, reverse engineered, and you can compile files for it that can be used to flash new PAL chips or GAL chips. And that was a breakthrough, because back in the days you could only buy new PAL chips from MGT themselves, and they were like 50 gulden each. It's like 25 euro something back in the days, and that was a lot of money back then. And so if you had a broken interface, it cost you like 100 gulden to get it fixed, which was a lot, because the interface itself was already expensive, let alone the repair costs. So that was a bad thing back then, but fortunately someone solved it, and later on the chips were a lot less expensive, which is a good thing. And now it's getting more expensive once again because of all kind of economic problems, and also because of parts that cannot be obtained anymore, or really hard to obtain. But we're still getting it going, and I'm really good at finding good stocks, good lots of parts, which is cool. And otherwise I will find alternatives like replica chips or something, clones. Alright, I think this one is done as well. Yeah, this looks quite clean. Oh, I dropped that one, but we'll pick it up later. So I'm trying to remove all the flux remainings, because it gets sticky when you do not clean it well enough. Right. One more and then we're done. I need to see if it's clean enough, because I can't see, because everything is brown. It's so dirty. So I'm trying to move the board at the point where it's touching the table bit by bit to see if there's no brown stuff coming off of it. There's still a lot of it. So just a bit more. because I know every time some brown stuff comes up, it's not clean perfectly. Ah, now it's okay. Okay. Yeah, it's perfect. Just a couple of spots here. This one can go to landfill, oven, right. That was the last one, so it's time for some labels. Disc labels. Let's clean my hands actually. It's sticky. And I always like to clean the desk as well. This is not enough. To use a paper towel for that. Can you imagine how smelly this is, the IPA? Right. Done. At least soldering is done. So this is about 2 hours of work, 5 interfaces, and then I need to test them of course. I like to have these tested for a while because the original disk controller chips that are on there, they tend to get quite warm, so I want to make sure that everything is working okay. Also the GAL chips that I use often get warm, and I've had GAL chips failing after a while in the past, so those are 2 reasons that I like to do a test for like 20 minutes or half an hour to make sure nothing is overheating or getting faulty when using. At least half an hour, something like that. I got some simple basic programs for that, like a program that writes a file to disk and then erases it and writes it again and erases it, and that go on and on. So you know that all the chips on the board are being used. Or maybe you can build in something like a counter that stops when like half an hour has passed, and then I know that it's tested properly enough. Right, so that's done, and let's do the final piece of the puzzle, adding the chips. We also need 27 and a 175, or 157 or 175, now I can't remember. Let's see, 175, so these ones here. And they look a lot better when all the chips are on, so that's what I like to show you. I think I got one order, oh no, two orders for two of these already from Germany. So 3 left. Still need to wipe off the front of the interfaces once, because some of the IPA has gone through and it's sticky. I don't like that. There's still some alcohol here on here, so it's good enough. And now it can evaporate into space. Right. 27. Oh. If you like doing something like this as well, then maybe buy a ZX diode card, which is very useful to fault shoot the ZX Spectrum. But I got kits of those, and those are quite easy to assemble yourself and lots of fun. So we got the joystick gal chip here, and the RAM chip, the SRAM chips. So I got 3 types of those SRAM chips. I got the 6264, I got the 62256, and I got the 628-128. And all based on the same technology, SRAM, and used in all kinds of ZX Spectrum interfaces. Alright. And I think all the chips that are in here have been tested, because they're from China and I test them all. I shouldn't have to, but the reason I test them before using them on these boards, because I mean without that I don't need to test them, is because I'm going to test them anyway, these interfaces. But the reason I do when they arrive is that if they don't work, I want my money back, you know, and I need to do that within a couple of days usually. I have had many situations that I was way too late and then I just lose my money, and it's a pity. These are the main logic chips for the PlusD, these GAL chips. So these are the same GAL chips, but they're programmed differently. Really nice, relatively early programmable logic chips. So then we need the PlusD ROM, or PlusDlite ROM actually. I've got one here with a question mark on it, but it's no problem, because this one has been tested, and if it fails again, then I will throw it away and grab a new one. Actually, I don't throw away bad parts, I keep them. I have a huge box of bad parts, bad chips actually. I can always fill a wall with it, because I have so many bad Chinese chips. Sucks a lot. And these are very expensive VLSI chips. So the same brand that made I think the chips for the SAM Coupe. But these are the floppy disk controllers from them. So they also made ASIC chips that the SAM Coupe uses. And these chips nowadays cost like €25 each. I think I bought these for less. May have been the last batch of these, because they are getting incredibly rare. But they're still inside these insanely cool interfaces for the ZX Spectrum. Alright. Nice to hear that you've been using a microdrive. It was quite hard to obtain a microdrive in Holland. It was almost as expensive as a floppy drive back then. I don't know why. Right, so all the chips are on. What do you think? How do they look? I think the red and blue combination is good on these, but I prefer having black parts. Not because I'm an Apple fan or something like that, but anyway. So this was it for now. I'm going to test them later. As I said, these need time to test thoroughly. And if you're interested in seeing a video of how to use the PlusDlite interface and how it works and how cool it is, I can make a video of it. So let me know if you like that. For now, I will get some snacks and some drinks, and what will I do later today? Let me check my to-do list. Loads of things to do, but let me check. I've got some order processing to do. Behind me there's something on the other desk for people, like 2 assembled Harlequin boards that need to be tested. And that's mainly it for today. And in a couple of hours, Formula 1 is getting to the qualification. First free practice, free run, and then qualification tonight. So for me, that's it for now. I hope you liked it. Let me know, and please like and subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you in the next video. So, bye!